It is Friday, July 25th, and this is the weekly garden update. It's also my birthday, and the garden is looking fabulous for my birthday today, so that's very exciting. I'm going to start on this side today with the fig, which I still haven't gotten into an actual pot yet, but it's still doing great. It's got a lot of sun and water over here, so it's quite happy, even though it's not in the bigger pot yet. And the pineapple is looking great. So if you remember, we did have a lot of brown leaves on this when it first came over from the plant sitter from the winter time, and it was really sad in its little pot. Now it's got this really nice big pot, and it's got lots of green happy leaves on it. So that is looking really good. I don't see any sign of it actually making a pineapple, so I may have to try and use like an apple to do that, but it doesn't really work outside from what I've heard. So we'll see how that goes. Moving along, this is the planter I have going for my neighbor, and I was given some different peppers for this, and I also have these tomatoes that I had moved over here. So if you remember, these are the tomato plants that had been growing in little pots that were kind of forgotten in the kids' garden, and it's been moved over here, and they've got little tomatoes on them, and they have bounced back really nicely to being moved. At first they were kind of sad looking in the first video of them over here, but they're looking really good now. So I haven't even had to really remove anything. Like I see there's a couple scraggly leaves on here that I'm gonna have to pull off, but otherwise it's looking really good. So looking at the peppers that I was given a little flat of these little tiny peppers. And a lot of them are looking really good. Like this one right here is looking really good. But some of them have sunburn. So if you're like, what do you mean sunburn? So when you have the little sprout plants that are new to being out in the full sun, they will get this thing going on where they kind of look scorched and a little burnt. But you know they're doing all right if they make these fresh new green leaves. So because this has green leaves on it, I'm not at all concerned. If the whole plant looked like this little leaf here, I would be concerned. And like these ones, you can see a couple of them have these really lighter colored leaves, and this one over here, it has like the sunburned looking leaves. But overall, they're looking really good. They're making new leaves, they're green, it's good. This over here has a new pepper growing at the top there. And I apologize if you're hearing my husband's drone flying around at all. He was so excited to fly his drone around today, and I just asked him not to fly directly over my garden so that we wouldn't hear it. But I still hear a little bit of it because of the acoustics of our yard. That's just how it is. I'm going to turn around here and show you this mint plant. I don't remember, or rather I don't know what kind of mint this is. This is the mint that was over there next to this box. So I just found it the other day. It was kind of tucked in behind there. It was getting a little crowded. So you can see it's kind of leggy because it was in a shaded spot, and I actually didn't know it was there because it was so crowded. But it's actually got all these little flowers on it, and it's looking very happy. Now that I've moved it, I just do not know what kind of mint it is, other than it is a mint. So it will remain in a pot because I don't want it going all over. Nothing new to report on the cherry blossoms. They're still branches, although there's some kind of, I don't know, lichen or something. I don't even know what's growing on the side of this at this point. But nothing new to report as far as them having leaves or anything. I'm gonna go this way and show you this planter, which has been over there right here. It had to move this week because it was really getting crowded out, but it's looking great, and it's happy that it's got this sunny spot. So I've got this kind of whatever section going over here, and it's doing well over here. So we've got that going for us. Sorry if you hear me shooing away any mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are suddenly out to make me crazy, even though we've had the yard sprayed. They are really out tonight, which is frustrating. The oregano is kind of falling over in the middle here. It's kind of doing this crazy baldy spot in the middle. I guess I'm gonna have to trim it up because it's getting a little nuts. And the edge of the path here, the edge of the path is probably about here, and it's fallen over that much. So I'm kind of stepping where there used to be a different flower bed because there isn't really room to walk. Sorry about that. If it's not the drone, it's my toddler being really noisy just because he can. So I've moved the coleus over to this spot here. This is the original coleus that was over there, and then it was over here. And I've moved it to this spot because it was not getting enough water. So the hose is right here. So now it gets water right here, so it's much happier. Same thing, the parsley plant here also moved over because it wasn't getting enough water. So hopefully no more watering issues because of moving it. And the parsley over here is looking pretty good. It's coming in really nicely. And as well as like these insane weeds that are just everywhere. So I did like a crazy weeding thing the other day, and my pathways still look like chaos. But at least if I'm gonna have some chaos, I've got some daisy fleabane to make it pretty chaos. Although this is not good here. So let me show you. This is a wild grape that I've just seen here. And this is a vine. And let me show you what happens if you see this. What you need to do is immediately remove it because it will take over everything. See this bush here? This bush is covered, as well as every bush in this row is covered. You could see it right there on that bush back there. And if you see it back there where you see the dead leaves, I've cut 2 branches underneath the bush, and you can see it's still up on the top of the bush right there. All those little leaves sticking up is more of this awful wild grape. So if you see it, pull it because it is awful to remove. It is super invasive. It is super aggressive. And even if you think you've removed it, if there's any root remaining, it all comes back. So you've been warned. All right, looking over here. So the acorn squash, I'm facing an upright position. This pole here is facing an upright position. This is the trellis here. If you remember when I put this trellis up, it was also facing the same direction as this pole, upright. And you could see it's gone over quite a bit. In fact, if I take a look at this whole trellis thing should be over there. Can you see how much that's moved? That's at least 1 to 2 feet over from where it should be. So I'm actually going to have to come out with some twine or something and try and, I don't know, attach this to the posts over there or something to try and get it to go that way, because it's really steadily coming over the pathway here and going in a not so good direction. Moving on. I don't even have a path here anymore. Yeah, this path is kind of gone. All I see is acorn squash in here. But yeah, it's fun chaos. Let's go with that. It's fun chaos. Let's look at the sunflowers. They're looking quite happy. Let's come around to this side because I want to show you that I've tripped over my basket here. Oopsies. All right, so you see this sunflower up here. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this in past weeks where we said, oh, how tall is this sunflower? Well, my husband and I actually came out with a measuring tape. And do you want to take a guess on how tall it is? I'll give you a second to think about it. You can see it goes all the way up like that. It is officially 11 feet. We have measured it with a measuring tape. It is 11 feet tall. So, yep, that was crazy. It is so tall, it has become a trellis for this tomato plant right here. So do you see this tomato plant is the branches in here and the branches there. And if I shake this a little bit, you should see how tall this is. You see the top of that up there? Right there? You see the top of this thing? That tomato plant is, I guess, about 3 feet shy of the 11-foot mark on the top of this. So that is insane that the tomato plant is growing up that high. That's really crazy. Did not know that tomato plants could grow that tall. But my what are these things? Tomato cages here. The tomato cages are probably about 5 foot tall. They're like chest high on me. So these 5 foot tall things, it has gone well beyond. So I did not know that tomatoes could grow like that. So that's been interesting. But I had to put it somewhere because it was actually like blocking the path this way. I'm like, okay, you can't take away this path because then I won't be able to walk anywhere. So I just kind of tucked it in there and it just started growing up. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy. Oh, and we do have confirmation that these are purple cherry tomatoes. So far on all the ones that have produced tomatoes in this bed, it has officially been the purple cherry tomatoes. So on that note, oh, I have more over here I can harvest later. On that note, I'm going to come over here. And these are my mystery / volunteer tomatoes that had come up from like the beds over there. And I do not remember growing any cherry tomatoes over there, or if I did, they really didn't do so well. So I was really surprised that I got red cherry tomatoes in here. But I want to bring up an important thing that I've been talking about in the gardening group lately. So I have already thrown away 3 of these that have bird pecks in them in the past like couple days. So like one a day I've had to throw away because it had like bird pecks in it, versus I have not thrown out a single purple one because the birds don't realize these are tomatoes. So if you have the red tomatoes and you want to keep your red tomatoes, start pulling them when they blush. And blushing is when they start going red like this. So this is a blush. So once they blush, they will ripen off the vine. So you can take this. Oh, and look, there's a bird peck right there. That proves my point entirely. So once they blush, you can take this inside, sit in a bowl on your windowsill in a sunny spot, and you will have ripe tomatoes that you can put away in your fridge in like 2 or 3 days, depending on how much sun they're getting, how green they were when you started. But I'm going to throw this one away to the birds. They can have that because I don't want bird peck tomatoes. I want my purple tomatoes. So if you have the option to get purple tomatoes, I would recommend it. If you have a problem with birds eating your tomatoes, go purple, or start picking your tomatoes early when they blush, and then you won't have a bird issue as bad. I mean, you'll still have a bird issue, but you won't have it as bad. So over here, I actually just picked in my basket 2 of these that had blushed, going back to blushing, and that is the Estiva tomatoes. So the Estiva tomatoes just gave me 2 nice sized red tomatoes. I'm looking at green, so I'm saying green. And then I'm looking over here, the black crim is 1 tomato there. And then I'm gonna grab this here because, alright, sorry, I've got my camera sideways here. So I am seeing some of this, I think it's called cat face. And when I see this, I throw them away immediately because I have cut into tomatoes that looked like this before. They pretty much never will turn red. At least I've never seen them turn red. Like, they will stay hard and green for weeks, and they're just not worth my time. And it said that this happens on like the beginning tomatoes. So I have been throwing away, I think this is the 3rd one off of this particular plant that I've thrown away. I'm going to throw it away as I'm talking to you. And the ones that I've seen showing up since all seem good. So we'll keep an eye on that because it's interesting to see how the different tomatoes have different issues. So black crim has a cat face issue on the starting tomatoes. Nothing for Estiva. And the Romas have that lovely black spot thing I was talking about. Let me pause this for a second to grab my harvest basket. Okay, back with my harvest basket. Here are the Estiva tomatoes. So you can see this is still a little bit green. It actually was even greener this morning. I left it on a little bit longer today. But then I realized like how red it was. I was like, oh, the birds are going to get that. So I went and just grabbed them. They actually have a kink in the side from being against the other tomato stems. So I actually picked this earlier today and I have to pick it again. These are the Romas. So I am still seeing the occasional blossom end rot marks. But since I treated a few days ago, maybe it is even a week now, I am hardly seeing anything. So this is the extent of what I'm seeing, is this little bit right in the middle here, and there's a little bug. I'm going to throw that away. So I have been able to pick a whole bunch of good tomatoes from this. I'm only seeing the occasional bit, and there's something else ate my tomatoes. So if I'm not losing it to spots, I'm losing it to something biting it. That looks maybe like a rabbit bite. I don't know. I'll just toss that over the fence with everything else. And I missed. Anyway, let's see what's going on over here. So we've got the sunflowers here, and I did go back and check my packaging, and I'm pretty sure that these are from the mixed package I had, which was like the yellows and like this one together. So if that's the case, I actually don't have any plants that have come up that were purple. So I know I had planted sunflowers in here, and I don't see any signs of sunflowers in here anymore. So I don't know, like I'll have to keep an eye out and see if I get a random one popping up, but I see no signs of sunflowers in there at all. And then I actually just saw this one yesterday that had managed to pop up above the zucchini. And I'm not sure if that is a purple or if that would be another one like these out of that pack. So these ones were actually the volunteers. These two in the front are volunteers. All four in this bed here are volunteers. This one right here is a volunteer. These ones here are all new from the packet this year. The one that I had planted back here, I actually had planted two back here this year, and I don't see them at all. I had seen them, but now I don't see them anymore, so I don't know if they've died, because I did initially see them sprout. And there was one in there that I don't see either, so I don't know if there's just an issue with seeds this year, because everything that's doing really well is a plant that I bought or a volunteer plant. Anything that I started from seed, I'm having a lot of issues with. So I don't know what's up with that. Alright, I'm taking a look at the hot cherry peppers here. And I have actually been harvesting the occasional one. I think I have like 6 in my fridge right now, because it gives me like 1 or 2 at a time. They are kind of large and unruly at this point. And everything's kind of damp because we had like a quick rain that just blew over. So yeah, they're kind of tickling me as I'm talking to you here. Come on, go up over there. Yeah, but lots of peppers on here, looking really good. So that's really great. And over here, most of these mystery tomatoes have been proven as purple cherry tomatoes. So I've got one red tomato right here. So this one with the little tiny, let me move the camera here. The little tiny tomatoes there, that is a red one. And the one that's on that side right there, you can see the little red tomato poking through. That is a red one, but it looks like all of these are going to be purples, because here's another purple right here. So these are all going to be purples. Oh, there's something going on with that. It's got like a hole or something in it. Throw that away. Yeah, but it looks like my mystery tomatoes are all cherry tomatoes, and just that one on that side, that was a nice big tomato. So, I was hoping for more big ones, but you can't win them all. Alright, mint on the pathways, looking good. I keep knocking into this thing and stepping on it, and it's so hardy, it's amazing. Alright, so the eggplants, I just saw another big eggplant here as I was walking by. Right there. So this eggplant is really good size. So this is a size to harvest. You can see, like, so be careful when you harvest these things. I'm going to show you. So first, twisting them is just so much fun. These have thorns. Can you see the thorn right there? So there's another thorn, there's another thorn. You can probably see the thorns here. You want to be really careful of eggplant. I forgot these things had thorns until I was doing one of these videos a couple weeks ago, and I went to lift it to show it off, and I was like, youch! One of these thorns stabbed me right in the hand. So be careful of the thorny eggplants. And I'm going to very carefully stick that in my basket. And I actually have my gardening gloves by the front gate that I'm going to come back later and remove the thorns from that so it does not get me, because I don't want to be stabbed. Okay, over here are the potatoes. So I was talking to my aunt about, oh yeah, the potato branches were looking dead like this. And I said, oh, I'm going to have to flip my buckets over and see what I have in the potato thing. And she said, no, don't do that yet. You want to cut off the tops of the plants and leave it for 2 weeks. And I believe she called that curing. I might be calling that the wrong thing, but I'm pretty sure she called it curing. And she said once it's been in there for 2 weeks, that pretty much hardens up your potatoes, and then you can pull them out. So it has been officially a week on Sunday, so I have a memo in my phone calendar of what day I can come out here and pull them. But when I was removing these tops here, I actually just kind of yanked the tops off of a few of them because I didn't have a clipper at the time, and I was like, oh well, since I'm in here, I'll just like do that. And I had a little potato this big, little tiny thing this big, just sitting on the top there. So that's a really good sign. So maybe not the fact that it's only this big, that's kind of a shame to have a giant bucket and a little tiny potato, but I started these potatoes all the way at the bottoms of these buckets, and to have a potato all the way at the top here that I've accidentally pulled, removing the stem, that's a good sign that I'm going to find something in here. I have no idea if I'm going to find 5 potatoes or 50 potatoes, probably not 50, but I don't know if I'm going to find a bunch of potatoes or just like a couple, but I'm definitely happy to know that I will find something because I've already found something. So that will be really exciting, and I will definitely video when I go through the potatoes so that you guys can see what ends up coming about with this. So I did come through here the other day and I re-found the path. Yay, path! Little wins. And when I found the path, I found my patio blueberry. So this patio blueberry is definitely over 10 years old. I want to say this is probably closer to 20 years old now, because this moved with me 10 years ago, and I had it for probably close to 10 years before that, and there's stupid weeds in here. I do try and really keep up on weeds on this as much as possible because the weeds really crowd out this poor plant. But my mom just bought me a pot to replant this because if you could see, if I turn this way, the pot is dead. The pot is completely dead. So I really have to repot this poor patio blueberry. And I think I'm going to try and get some blueberry fertilizer before I move it, because they like acidic soil, and I probably could even mix in some of the excess amount of pine needles we have to give a little extra acid, because these do live in Maine and love acidic coniferous plant kind of soil. Oh look, there's a viola right here that's blooming. I haven't seen a blooming one in a little bit. But yeah, they like living where there's pine trees, lots of pine trees. So I might mix some pine tree-ness in just to see if that makes that happy. So we'll see how that goes. I did trim back a lot of whatever kind of mystery plant this is. What is this? It's like a raspberry or blackberry or one of those. I don't even know what it is because the birds didn't let me see a single ripe berry. So I just kind of got frustrated with it. It's taking up my space. It's invading my tomatoes. It's stabbing me as I'm dealing with the tomatoes. So I really trimmed back this section here, and I'm going to trim back everything on this side of the fence. If it wants to grow on that side, it can grow on that side, but I can't have it on this side because it's really ouchy to deal with, and I just don't want to deal with it. Looking over here, so the zucchini has been having some mixed feelings here. I'm stepping on a little tiny volunteer tomato plant that I didn't realize was there. I am getting zucchini. There is a zucchini. I just saw it right when I was walking by, and now I don't see it. There's one hiding in here. Oh, there it is. There's a nice size zucchini right there. Hi, zucchini. So I did see signs of those wretched beetles, but I'm not seeing any right this second. So I think removing the eggs like a psychopath has been helping, because I'm really not seeing damage like if they were running rampant. Yeah. But I have lots of zucchini in the house, so even if I were to lose this now or rip it out, I would not be upset because I have a lot of zucchini in my house. I actually got a zucchini. I weighed it for funsies, and it was 2.5 pounds, and I shredded it all up. And I was like, yeah, I have enough ingredients. I'll do 4 batches of zucchini bread. And it was 3 batches of zucchini bread worth from 1 zucchini. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm not clearing out my counter like I thought I was. So this I've been hearing about is called cucumber mosaic. And when I checked on this plant 2 days ago, it wasn't this bad. So I think this plant is pretty much kaput. It's looking kind of scraggly. I actually have a pickle. Well, sorry, not pickle yet. A cucumber. A very stabby cucumber, may I mention. If you are not aware, cucumbers have these little stabby things all over them. You want to kind of run your hands on there and get them off, or you will get prickled and it kind of hurts. I see this one. I see this little tiny something that's not even worth picking. And I'm not seeing much else on here. So I think this plant might be done. I think it might be time to remove it, and then I can start switching over to maybe a fall planting in this part. I'm not really sure yet because I've got the zucchini here, and I don't want to do too much in this bed and then have the zucchini invade the whole space. I'm gonna walk around the other side. Hang on a second. All right, I'm gonna go around the other side here. So I was there, and I can go this way because I didn't feel like fighting the branches, so I went that way. So over here, I'm checking for signs of cucumbers. So there's like this little scraggly one in there. Why is my phone not focusing? Kind of annoying. So a little one there, and there is one right here. Oh, is my phone stuck? Hang on. I think my phone got stuck. I've got a cucumber here.